It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so, it was a very miserable Saturday because of what Tyson Fury didn't do. He disgraced the sport of boxing and the heavyweight championship of the world in a major and irreparable way, I feel, on a global mainstream scale. But there was one positive, right? There was one positive in the midst of all this chaos with Fury and Ngannou, right? And that was the other fight that happened that day, later on that day, which was the WBC super featherweight world title fight featuring O'Shaquie Foster trying to make his first world title defense against all odds against Eduardo Rocky Hernandez, who really it was set up for him to win this fight. He was a Mexican fighter. They're fighting in Mexico on his promotion with his promoter, with with judges that favor him. All he had to do was have an above average performance, and he was gonna beat O'Shaquie Foster if he didn't stop him. Right? It was an interesting fight. It was, I think O'Shaquie Foster, he got stronger as the fight went on. There was some nip and tuck rounds early on, but then when you got the more the fight seemed to go on, the more O'Shaquie Foster seemed to turn it up. And I want to say this about O'Shaquie Foster. There was some criticism from the boxing world and even a little bit from myself, even when he beat Ray Vargas, because we ask a lot of our fighters to go the extra mile and show that extra bit of class when they're in these big fights against top competition. And, I thought he did what he needed to do against Ray Vargas, but O'Shaquie didn't look the part of a guy that could go on and become the best 130-pounder in the world. That's just my honest assessment, right? But you can't just judge everyone off one fight. The better fighters in the world, the smarter fighters in the world, they understand styles, they understand boxing, they understand how to adjust to whatever it is, whatever challenge is in front of them. And in this fight right here, I got to give O'Shaquie immense credit for his boxing IQ. He's got great natural fighting instincts, but he had a guy in Eduardo Rocky Hernandez who, let's face it, we know what he is. He is the quintessential, stereotypical Mexican fighter, high-volume puncher, high guard, comes forward, looking to knock you out, looking to, wear you down and wear you out. And while it was Rocky Hernandez that had the reputation for being a puncher in this fight, it was O'Shaquie Foster that was behaving like the puncher as the fight wore on. Instant role reversal. You saw him putting together some great combinations and piercing the guard of Rocky Hernandez whenever you wanted to as the fight progressed. And then we had what I believe to be quite possibly the round of the year in round 11. O'Shaquie Foster and Rocky Hernandez delivered and painted a beautiful picture of combination punching. And O'Shaquie was just beating the brakes off Rocky. It got to the point where Rocky Hernandez was literally turning his back and running away from him in the 11th round. And just as quick as boxing made me miserable, even though I'm still kind of miserable about Tyson Fury and Ngannou and what that's done for boxing in the mainstream, I got a slight lift from what I've seen from O'Shaquie and Rocky Hernandez. But the only thing that's unfortunate about it is that, it was on the zone, so not as many people seen it. And then, the ones that did see it were still kind of depressed about what happened with Fury, right? So that's my biggest gripe about it, that O'Shaquie Foster couldn't have did this when he was on Showtime or had a bigger audience. But nonetheless, he delivered a great performance. And honestly, it's probably one of the best title defenses I've seen in a long time in boxing because, again, the scorecards were completely in Rocky Hernandez's favor going into going into like the 8th or 9th round. He was up like 8-0 or something like that. He was gonna get robbed. If the fight would have won the distance, he was gonna get robbed and royally shafted on the cards. Eddie Hearn was gonna get a world champion, but he understood that he couldn't leave it to the judges in Mexico. And while he had Rocky Hernandez hurt in the 11th round, he made sure he upped his intensity in the 12th round and ultimately, got him the hell up out of there. So you got to give him credit for rising to the occasion against all odds and further validating his impressive run in boxing, and now that he's a legitimate champion that commands respect. I mean, let's be honest here. Shocky Foster, he started his career off 10-2, was in trouble with the law, in jail, looking at potentially not having a future in anything, let alone boxing. Got out of jail, and then has reeled off now, 11 straight wins, became world champion, defended his belt in Mexico. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Shocky Foster, particularly with this last performance, has validated himself as a true champion in the sport of boxing. A guy that commands respect. And listen, I know the fight that he's wanted for a long time is the Joe Cordina fight, the unification fight. Obviously, Joe Cordina has a fight this weekend with Edward Vasquez that he has to take care of business. But if Joe Cordina does what he needs to do this weekend in Monte Carlo and retains that belt, Shocky deserves that fight, because Shocky Foster is in my opinion, like his reputation has been enhanced quite a lot with that performance, because not a lot of fighters could go on the road against a hard punching Mexican fighter like that and get the stoppage and do it in such a way where not only did he get the stoppage, but it was such a fun fight. It was such a great fight. It showed you so much about who Shocky Foster is, the man, because you can really tell a lot about a man, about how he fights in the boxing ring. And we learned a lot about Shocky Foster, not just the fighter, but Shocky Foster, the man, a man of true grit and true character, and someone that fighters can look at and say, hey, this guy's a true warrior of the sport. I can be a true warrior of the sport. So hell of a fight. And I think him and Cordina, I look at that fight a little differently now, because Shocky has given us a reason to look at it a bit differently. Cordina has developed a bit of a reputation his last couple of fights as a puncher, but I don't really look at him as a puncher per se. He's a boxer puncher. Shocky Foster is, I don't want to say a boxer puncher, but he's more of a boxer that can be a volume puncher if need be, because that's what he showed in this fight. So I wouldn't call Shocky a prototypical boxer puncher, but nonetheless, Shocky Foster has great natural fighting instincts. He knows his range. He understands situational boxing, when to press, when to box, when to slug, when to counter. He's got a good boxing mind on him. And I wouldn't write him off against anybody in this weight class, because he's shown it in a major way that he's nothing to mess with in the 130 division. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's bringing to the table, because again, you could put about 20 other fighters in that position against a Mexican fighter in Mexico, and they're not going to deliver the kind of performance he delivered against Rocky Hernandez. So much respect to him. Congrats on his first world title defense, and I look forward to seeing more of Shocky Foster as he progresses his career. And as for Rocky Hernandez, look, his whole record, he's 34-2. The 34 wins he's got, I don't know none of them guys on his resume. The only two names I do know he got losses against, which is Roger Gutierrez, who he got knocked out in one round against 3 years ago, and now this. So it's time to ask the question: Is Rocky Hernandez truly world championship, world title material? And I don't know. I don't quite think so. 130 is a good weight class with a lot of good fighters: Cordina, Shocky Foster, Otar Aranosian, Vaquero Navarrete. I mean, is he on that level? I don't quite think so. So we'll see how he comes back. Best wishes to him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What did you make of Shocky Foster's performance? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.